Dear students, welcome to the new session of Standard 8 Physics, Chapter Friction, Part 3. Content: increasing and reducing friction in some situations, lubricants, ways of reducing friction, wheels and ball bearings, and fluid friction. The first one, increasing and reducing friction. Increasing friction. The first case, sole of shoes. Second one, treaded tires of vehicles. Third one, brake system. So why the sole of our shoes is grooved? The soles of our shoes have grooves to get a better grip with the ground. Clear? So second one, treaded tires of vehicles. So you can see these kind of tires in cars, trucks and bulldozers, which provide better grip with the ground. Clear? That is why we are using this treaded tires. And the third case is brake system. So whenever we are applying brake, the vehicle comes to stop. Isn't it? Yes. So brake system also is a better example for increasing the friction. In all these cases, we are using friction. Friction is responsible for all these situations. Clear? Yes. Next one, reducing friction. How to reduce friction in some common examples. The first case, carom board and fine powder. In carom board, we are using powder to minimize the friction or to reduce the friction. We are sprinkling powder on the carom board, and after that we are striking the carom coins, then the coins will move very easily. Clear? Okay, in such cases we are reducing the friction with the help of fine powder. And the second case, oil and the hinges of door. So in such cases you can apply the oil in the hinges of door to reduce the friction. Clear? Yes. Next, lubricants. What are lubricants? The substances which reduce friction are called lubricants. Example, oil, petrol, grease, etc. In the previous session, we have discussed about the irregularities and the interlocking of irregularities, right? In the case of objects, when two objects are coming in contact each other, these irregularities produce friction, right? So to minimize this friction between the objects, we can apply lubricants. So whenever you are applying lubricants, this lubricant will act as a thin layer, and this thin layer is formed there, and moving the surface do not directly rub against each other. Clear? Yes. So in such situation, the interlocking of the irregularities is avoided to a great extent, because here the lubricant is act as a thin layer which reduces the friction. Clear? Yes. Ways of reducing friction. The first point, friction can be reduced by making the surface smooth. Second one, it can be minimized by applying lubricants. Third one, wheels reduce friction. And finally, use of ball bearing is also a better way to reduce friction. So these are the different ways reducing the friction. Clear? Yes. Now the wheels and ball bearings. How these wheels and ball bearings reduce friction? First one, wheels. When one body rolls over the surface of another body, the resistance to its motion is called the rolling friction. So we have already discussed about this rolling friction, static friction and sliding friction in the previous session. So when one body rolls over the surface of another body, then a kind of friction develops there. That is what we call rolling friction. And it is always easier to roll than to slide a body over another. So rolling is very easy as compared to sliding friction. So here you can see that a ground surface and a wheel is there, and this wheel is rolling over the surface, So here the rolling friction is less as compared to the sliding friction. So we can say that the rolling friction is less than that of sliding friction. Clear? Yes. Next one, ball bearings. It's a type of rolling element bearing that uses ball to maintain the separation between races. Races means it is what we call the outer race and it is what we call the inner race. Or simply we can say it as inner ring and outer ring. So these metallic bolts are slightly fitted in the sockets associated with the races, and it is very easy to move, and this kind of ball bearing that we can use in the machinery parts or in bicycles or in ceiling fans. In many other situations we can use the same. It is very easy to handle and also it is very useful to reduce the friction. Clear? Yes. Next, fluid friction. What do you mean by fluid? The substances which are able to flow easily are called fluids. For example, water, oil, petrol, gases, all these things are what we call fluids. So these fluids exert a force of friction on objects in motion through them. So when these objects are moving through these fluids, it exerts a kind of friction on objects. That is what we call fluid friction. And the same fluid friction is also known as drag. Very important point. The same fluid friction is also known as drag. Clear? Yes. So it is quite natural that when the objects move through the fluids, they have to overcome the friction acting on them. Then what are the different factors depends the fluid friction, the shape of the object, the nature of the fluid, and the speed of the object. Clear? So these are the different factors affecting the fluid friction. Clear? Yes. So here you can see that airplane and ships, these kind of objects are given specialized structure to overcome the fluid friction. So in the case of ships or boats, you can see that the front part is especially constructed, right? Means somewhat sharp edge to overcome the fluid friction. The same way in the case of airplane, the front part is specially built to overcome the air resistance. Means simply to overcome the fluid friction. Or nowadays in the case of bullet trains also, we are using a specialized front part to reduce the air resistance. So in all these cases, these kind of special structures are used to overcome the fluid friction, and this specialized structure is called streamlined shapes. The same streamlined shape you can see in the nature. In the case of fishes, they are moving very fastly in the water, and in the case of birds, they are flying very fastly in the air. In all these cases, they have given a specialized structure to overcome the fluid friction, and they can move here and there very fastly. Clear? Yes. So these are the points regarding fluid friction. So dear students, this chapter is over, and next time we will meet with another topic. Till then, bye. Thank you.